Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast, and today we're going to be going over the Orioles game that happened yesterday. It is the morning of the 23rd today. The Orioles did play yesterday. They do play again later today. But in the Orioles game yesterday, very, very bad performance off of the Orioles. They put up one hit across 9 innings. They score 0 runs in the entire game yesterday. They once again get shut out in a game. They put up 1 hit across the entire game, and they didn't really get on base at all. Besides from a couple walks and the 1 hit that they had, there was no opportunity to really score, and it was another pretty disastrous pitching performance out of Dean Kramer again, where it was one of those games where it kind of felt over. Like, the game kind of felt over going into, like, the 3rd inning. The game just kind of felt like it was out of reach. Just because of the struggles that this offense has had, the struggles that the pitching's had, the recent struggles that the bullpen has also had. It's just not a lot of good things going on in the Baltimore Orioles organization, and just not a lot of good things going on for Orioles baseball. And it's unfortunate, and it sucks. And I would say right now is definitely a time of panic within the Orioles community and, fans of the Orioles and stuff like that. This is definitely a time of panic, just because we are, like 22 games into the year or 21 games into the year, and this team just looks completely dead. The offense just looks dead. It's pretty much completely carried over from the second half of last year over to this season. And then the starting pitching has just been horrible for the Orioles, and the bullpen has had their struggles recently as well. So there really isn't a lot of positive things going on with the Orioles, which is really unfortunate that they're in this scenario. But at the same time, this situation was very avoidable for the Orioles. There was moves that they could have made. There was decisions that could have been made in the offseason to, help at least maybe, prevent this from being a, full-blown effect with the pitching at least. But yeah, just pretty unfortunate things going on in Birdland right now, and we'll go over the box score, the statistics, and stuff like that. I mean, there isn't really too much to go over today. A lot of today's episode is really just going to be talking about kind of the state of the team and talking about, what's really going on with this team, because I think it's more than just bad play on the field. I really do believe that there's something going on behind the scenes, whether that's in the dugout, whether that's in the clubhouse, or whatever it is. Just something's not there. This team just feels lifeless. They don't feel like it feels like they just don't have an identity. The energy's not there with this team, and it's unfortunate because this team's expectations were high. They weren't necessarily, super, super high, but they still had the 7th best odds to win the World Series going into the year. They were a team that going into the year should have 100%, be considered a playoff team. Just like the past couple of years when they've made the playoffs, this team has the talent on the field to do it. We've seen Jordan Westburg, we've seen Gunnar, we've seen Adley, we've seen Cedric Mullins, we've seen all these guys. We've seen these guys produce before. We've seen the talent show off before with this team and this offense. So it's not really that they don't have the talent to do well. Which is also the biggest problem, is because, it's not that they don't have the talent. They have the talent to do well. It's just not being shown on the field. And at the same time, the starting pitching, as we know, is a mess. It was a mess going into the year. It became even more of a mess after the Zach Eflin injury. It became even more of a mess after the apparent, new Grayson Rodriguez injury. So it's just a bunch of stuff going on with the Orioles. It's unfortunate that things are happening this way. But yeah, let's go over the box score and statistics and everything like that. Again, running down through the Orioles game, the Orioles lose 0-7 to the Washington Nationals. They put up 1 hit across 9 innings. They score 0 runs. And the Nationals put up 14 hits and put up 7 runs. So a pretty complete opposite game for just a complete opposite game today for the Orioles. The Orioles did get on base 4 times via walk, plus obviously the base hit. We left 5 guys on base, went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And going through the box score, it's a pretty bleak box score, but we'll just run through it real quick. Cedric Mullins went 1 for 2 with 2 walks, so definitely was player of the game today. Cedric Mullins, once again, continues to be pretty much the only shining light and the only really good part of this Orioles offense this year has been Cedric Mullins. He's been great. I'm happy for Cedric that he's been able to do this, but he really is the only good player on offense for the Orioles this year so far. Cedric Mullins 1 for 2 with 2 walks. Adley Rutschman 0 for 3. Gunnar Henderson 0 for 4. Ryan Mountcastle 0 for 4. Tyler O'Neill 0 for 4. Heston Kjerstad 0 for 3. Jordan Westburg 0 for 3. Gary Sanchez 0 for 3. And Jackson Holliday 0 for 2 with a walk. So, if you go through the Orioles lineup today, and I just want to point this out real quick because this is kind of astonishing to me. If you go through the Orioles lineup today, it was Cedric leading off, then Adley, then Gunnar, then Mountie, then Tyler O'Neill, then Kjerstad, then Westberg, then Sanchez, then Holliday. So that was the lineup today. We didn't have any pinch hitters come in the game because, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It was a completely lifeless and dead game anyway. But if you go through the averages of these players as it stands right now, as of April 23rd, 2025, we're almost a month into the year. We're a little over 3 weeks into this season. And let's just go through the averages of some of these Orioles hitters real quick. Cedric Mullins obviously is hitting a 290. He's been great. Love Cedric Mullins. He's been amazing for this team. I think that he should 100% stay at the leadoff spot because he has been literally the most consistent hitter that we've had. So Cedric Mullins is sitting at a 290. But then you go over to everybody else. Adley Rutschman at a 200 on the dot. Gunnar Henderson at a 213. Ryan Mountcastle at a 229. Tyler O'Neill at a 230. Heston Kjerstad at a 245. Jordan Westberg at a 187. Gary Sanchez at a 120. And Jackson Holliday at a 213. And the slugging is also severely down from league average. The normal average is down. The OBP is down. This team is really struggling right now, especially on the offense and on the pitching. Just combined, it just does not feel. These things are not right with this team for sure, and I think every single Orioles fan would agree with me when I say that. But when going into the third inning, this game was 3-0, and it kind of felt like the game was over. And I only say that because it just feels like one of those games where if the Orioles don't start off good, if they don't start off the game well, and if they don't score 4 runs in the first 3 or 4 innings, and if they don't start off the game well, it just feels like the game's over. Because the Orioles this year have struggled with scoring late in games when it really matters. And they've done a pretty good job of scoring early, but when it goes into the later into the game, they just have had struggle scoring when it actually matters in the game, which is unfortunate because it was one of those scenarios where we didn't have a run. It was 5-0 going into the 6th inning, and then it was 6-0, then it was 7-0, and then there was just no way that this team was going to be able to come back. And not only did they show no fight on offense, they showed no fight. They had 1 hit in the entire game, and the only hit came from Cedric Mullins, which was no surprise. But the Orioles offense, a complete mess. Disastrous performance today. Obviously, the Orioles game before this was on Sunday, where they lose 24-2, and then they had a day off on Monday, and then they show back up on Tuesday. And in my last episode, I talked about how I'd love to see the Orioles go out here for this Washington series, and I would love to see them, with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and come out here and win this series against Washington, and really go out here and just play well after that 24-2 loss to kind of avenge that and get things back on track. But after a day off, after the 24-2 loss, they go out here and lose 0-7, get shut out, and only put up 1 hit in the entire game, which is, it's ridiculous. It really is. It's really It's inexcusable. The fact that this team is doing this consistently and this often, this team is just kind of folding over, rolling over, and dying, which is just not. I mean, this team is better than that, and I know that they are, and I know that this offense it has the talent to do well. They're just not producing it on the field, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Brandon Hyde. I don't know if he's complete. I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for something that I don't truly know the answer to, because no one really knows the answer to this because we're not a part of the team. But there is a lot of rumors and stuff that maybe Brandon Hyde has just completely lost the clubhouse and completely lost everybody in the locker room, and maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're gonna make the move to fire Brandon Hyde, but something's gotta change. I don't know if it's gonna be Brandon Hyde. I don't know if it's gonna be Mike Elias. I don't know if it's gonna be trading somebody. But something's got to change with this team, because at this point, it's not even just the pitching that's the problem. It's also the offense. Like, it's pain everywhere. It's pain everywhere. If you know that one meme where Jameis Winston says it's pain everywhere, that's kind of what this Orioles team is right now. But going over to the pitching real quick, Dean Kramer got the start today. He gets credited for the loss. He has another pretty disastrous game. Goes 5 innings, gives up 11 hits, 5 runs, doesn't walk anybody, which is good. That's actually a big positive for the Orioles today, actually, is they didn't walk a single batter for the Nationals. They still lose 7-0, but they didn't actually walk a single batter for the Nationals. So I mean, hey, that's good. I mean, we're keeping the balls in the strike zone, which is nice to see. But Dean Kramer, 5 innings, 11 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 0 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs, and in a 101 pitch count across 5 innings. His ERA is at a 6.84. 2-3 record on the year in his first 5 starts. Not ideal for Dean Kramer. Obviously, in his last start, he played great. This start didn't play great at all. Going over to the bullpen, Matt Bowman, 1.2 innings, 2 hits, a run. Then Keegan Aiken, 1 inning, 1 hit, 0 runs, 0 walks. So, I mean, yeah, by the time that Dean Kramer even left the game, I mean, this game was completely over, just because I feel like a lot of people's kind of just lost their trust in this offense to really get back into games like this. Usually when you go down 3-0 or 3-1 or something like that, you feel like your team still has a chance to get back into it. But I just haven't seen anything at all this year, or anything last year in the second half of last year. There is nothing that I've seen that makes me believe that this team can come back in a game when they're down. I believe when they score early, that they'll do fine. If you look at most of the Orioles' wins this year and their 9 wins that they have, a lot of those wins have been from them scoring early and just holding the lead throughout the game due to their bullpen. But in a lot of their losses have been, going into the 4th or 5th inning, the game just feels over. Because you just don't trust the pitching. Obviously, the starting pitching isn't doing well, so you're down early. And then I don't trust the offense to get back into the game, and even if it's like a 2, 3, or 4 run deficit. So it's just unfortunate. It really is. This team is struggling very badly. But going over and looking at the game that's happening later today, the Orioles, again, playing the Nationals in Game 2 of this series. If the Nationals win, they take the series. If the Orioles win, they tie up the series. But today, the Orioles have their best pitcher playing today. Tomoyuki Sugano has by far been the best Orioles starting pitcher this year. Tomoyuki Sugano, 2-1 record, 3.43 ERA, 1.29 whip, 21 innings, 22 hits, 8 strikeouts, 5 walks, 4 home runs. So Tomoyuki Sugano, while he might not have the greatest stats in the world or whatever, he has been by far the Orioles' best pitcher. And I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Tomoyuki today. Great pitcher. Love Tomoyuki. He's done so many good things for the Orioles since he's been here. Even in the little sample size he's had, he's done well. And obviously he has the best start by an Orioles pitcher all year, where he went 7 innings and gave up only 1 run in his last outing. So hopefully he can kind of replicate that into today. They're facing Trevor Williams, who has a 5.95 ERA. So hopefully they can, put up some runs today off of him, because he has struggled a little bit this year. So hopefully today we can get some runs put up off of Trevor Williams. And hopefully the Orioles can win today because they need a win very badly. They got to get back on track. Obviously, if they win, they'll get into the double digits for wins. Again, they're sitting at 9-13 on the year. Just not ideal at all. And hopefully the Orioles can tie up this series 1-1, and then the rubber match would be on Thursday. So just hopefully they can get a win. They just got to find a way to get a win. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if it's winning by 10 or winning by a walk or winning by like a go-ahead run in the ninth inning. They just got to get a win. They got to get on track somehow because these past 2 games have been horrible for the O's. But looking at the AL East standings real quick before we wrap up this episode, the AL East looks pretty much the same. The Yankees are first at 14-10. The Red Sox are second at 14-11. The Blue Jays are third at 12-12. And then the Orioles are fourth at 9-13. And the Rays are fifth at 9-14. So again, the Orioles just got to get back on track. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They got to find some sort of consistency. They got to go on like a 7-3 run within their next 10 games and just get back on track, find a rhythm, get above 500 on the record, and just move forward from there. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. Whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, I appreciate all the support from you guys. And the Orioles have a game later today. I'll have an episode out tonight going over the game today, and hopefully it'll be a episode with a lot more positivity, and I could actually talk about the Orioles winning, and if they have a great performance, we can shine some light on that, and really talk about this team in a good light. But some other good news is that the NFL draft is tomorrow. So again, tomorrow, the episode that I put up tomorrow is going to be about the Orioles game tomorrow, obviously, but also talking about the Ravens draft pick. We're going to be reviewing it. We're going to be talking about the draft, any big surprises that happened, just kind of going through the draft, because we have been doing mock drafts every Monday for the past month. So we're going to review the draft tomorrow. NFL draft is tomorrow. Orioles game later today. Episode up later tonight as well. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you guys so much. Y'all have a great sales night, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.